Mike, I've got a question for you, and I think it's something that's going to become a bit more relevant in the kind of coming months, which is I know quite a lot of people who are saying that their referrals are dropping off. Is there anything that we can do to get those back up?
Yes, there is actually. And before I answer the question, though, I think this is very common as the market flattens. The number of referrals tends to drop. It always does, because there are less referrals around, obviously less vacancies around, and people don't need to go outside of their existing supplier community because they get their needs satisfied there. So they're not likely to say, oh, you don't know anybody that. And then that's where you might come in as a referral. So it's quite normal. It's nothing to do with you. It's no reflection of you. It's absolutely fine. Okay, there are three practical things that I want to give you in a second. But first, I'd like to start with two backdrop, if you like, activities, things that are longer term, but eminently more powerful. So the first one is if you want to increase the number of referrals, have a whole bunch of people in your network that can help you, they can do introductions for you, and who owe you a favor. That old saying, it's not what you know, it's not even who you know, it's who you know that owes you a favor, is very true when it comes to referrals. So your idea is to add a lot of value to the right people well in advance of asking for a favor. That's the first thing. The second thing you can focus on, these are longer term, don't forget, but they have really big impact, is a lot of referrals come not because of what you've done for somebody, but rather how you make them feel. Right, so that's really important. There was a massive project done in the States some years ago in the insurance industry, breaking these teeth in for a dog. And they found that doing a great job for somebody was increase the chances of a referral, but doing a great job and also making people feel good about themselves, actually having a warm emotion towards you, significantly impacted the number of referrals you got. Interestingly, if you did an average job but made people feel good about themselves, made them feel special, made them feel appreciated, then again, that was almost as many referrals coming in. So really, you can't do a bad job, but you can do an average or good job, and provided that you make people feel good about themselves, treat them properly, what we say above and beyond the call of duty, the A and B and C and D, then there's a very good chance that they'll refer you on to people that they know.
The thing that I found the most interesting about that is that you could do an average job and make someone feel good, and it's just as powerful, because I think so many times, particularly in professional industries, you think I have to excel at doing something in order to get a referral, but in actual fact, it is just how you make me feel. If I really like you and I get on well with you and I know that you went above and beyond, I'm more likely to refer to you, even if the outcome wasn't exactly what I wanted.
That's true. And the other thing to remember about that particular piece of data came as well from the Bain study. Bain Group in America did a study, and they found that this was directed at accountants, but again, it's professional service, that 67% of people that swapped from one accountant to another didn't do so because of price or quality. They did so because they felt the accountant wasn't treating them properly. So you make them feel. So I think whether it's to do with client care or whether it's to do with referrals, the two are so very, very closely intertwined. The deal is make people feel special and appreciated, and you can't go too far wrong.
Okay, Mike. Now, whilst I very much enjoyed those 2 points that you just made, they are, as you said, longer term kind of solutions to the problem. But some people watching this are going to be having this problem now, and depending on what kind of state their business in, they might be thinking, "Oh, I'm not going to have a bonus this month," or perhaps I'm not going to be able, I might have to let some people go, or whatever. They might be panicking a little bit. So, do you have anything that's more short term for people to deal with this problem?
More practical and more short term. Sure, I do. Three things very, very quickly. The first one is ask for referrals, right? A survey that I saw, and I'm sure this is true, said that something like 87% of people that you ask for a referral, if you did a great job, will do their best to give you one. But in actual fact, less than 30% of people actually ask. So you've got that gap between the people that would help if you ask them, but you don't ask them. So that's the first thing, is to ring people up and say, were you delighted with the thing that I did for you? You were. I wonder, can you think of anybody else who would benefit from the same service that I provided you for them? It's fairly simple, really, to do. A little bit of chutzpah maybe, but you can do it. The second thing is allied to that, make it easy for people to make referrals for you. So if you just say, oh, send me a CEO or a CIO or a HRD, introduce me to those kind of people, that's a bit, don't know really. If you say, right, what I'm looking for is a HRD in a manufacturing company, up to about 200, 300 employees. Make it very specific. Now, you could argue, well, I'm excluding people. Well, you probably are. But the fact that you're being very specific means that you'll include more people too, weirdly. So I think it's very important to make it very easy for people to refer to you. On the same line as well, I would say that this isn't the third, this is an extension of the second one, right? I would also say that if somebody does have somebody that they'd like to introduce you to, the easiest way is an email, and tell them what email to use. So you would normally say, well, okay, just reply to whoever it is that you want to introduce to me. Put me as a CC on the email and just say, look, this is Mike, and this is Fred or someone. I think you guys have got something in common. Over to you now. So simple. And the simpler it is, the better. If you expect them to do loads of work and effort, they just won't bother. So make it real simple for them to introduce people to you. And the last thing is you can close the loop, weirdly. So if you've taken a referral, have you actually gone back and told that person the outcome? Because quite often, if you don't do that, if you don't explain what happened with the lead that someone gave you, it's like you don't care about them. It's like they're not special. It's like you're not appreciating them. And we all know the effect that has. So if you've had some referrals in the last, say, 3 to 6 months, figure out what happened following those introductions. And if you haven't already, go back to the introduced and say, thank you so much for introducing Alice to me. Alice turned out to be a great contact, and we're now doing business together. So if you get any more people like Alice, I would really appreciate it. Oh, and by the way, there's a box of chocolates in the post to you, or whatever it is that you do to reward people. So those are the 3 very practical things that I would suggest that you do based on the 2 longer term foundation activities we talked about a few seconds ago.
Mike, that's a really interesting point, actually, that I want to pick up on, because it's a lot of people have recently been talking to me about kind of giving rewards. So whether it is something as simple as a box of chocolates or a bottle of champagne or something, or as much as your next placement, there's money off or a percentage off the fee or a smaller fee. What do you think about those kind of ways to get more referrals?
Okay, right. That's an interesting question. Very quickly, there are 2 types of people, those that give referrals and those that don't. And the reward doesn't necessarily have a big impact on which group you're in. It's not like, well, I don't give referrals. Oh, here's 50 quid in Amazon vouchers. Well, now I do. That's not the motivator for people doing it. So there's nothing wrong with having a reward scheme at all, even if it only brings in 1 placement. Well, fine. Why not, right? I think what's more powerful, though, is a thank you reward. So they weren't expecting it, and you said, oh, by the way, can I have your home address, please? I want to send you something, or just going to put something in an email to you if it's the Amazon voucher or something. Just be careful of what you're sending, obviously. If someone their religion means they don't drink, don't send them a bottle of champagne, which is why something like Amazon vouchers is pretty cool. But something through the post, like a box of chocolates or something, or something physical, again, goes down really well. Can't see that there's any harm at all, because it shows that, I appreciate what you just did for me. So there you have it. Want to get more referrals? Well, on a longer term basis, you can give more than you take to the right people, and those referrals will come. And at the same time, you make a real point of dealing with you, make that a pleasure. Make them feel appreciated and special, because if you do that, they're much more likely to introduce you to new people. In the short term, there are 3 things that you can do. First thing is you can ask for referrals. That's an easy thing to do. You can certainly make it easy for people to refer others into you. And lastly, you can close the loop. If someone has done a referral for you and it's ended well, then you go back and tell them it's ended well. And if you do those things, then you will increase the number of referrals. in some estimates by 10%, which could just about compensate or offset the amount that you've dropped because the market has deadened. Well, I hope that was of some use to you. Good luck with boosting your referrals. If you've enjoyed this video and would like to get more just like it, then just subscribe and click on the little bell. We publish every 2 weeks. And by doing so, you'll also be notified about editions of the Mike Ames Recruitment Show, which are a little bit longer, as you know. Okay, well, if you've got any questions, please leave them below in the comments, and I, of course, will answer them. Failing that, I'll see you next time.